July 3rd and 2023. Lots of threes there, and this is the third Walker that I plan to shoot, and actually it's the third day since I started shooting the Walkers, so lots of threes here. Anyway, this gun I purchased used, so I'm not the first owner of it, and kind of interested to see how this gun will shoot for sure, for a couple of reasons, and one of them is that it has the 1:30 twist. The Walker that I shot yesterday, one of their newer versions, has a 1:16 twist. Did very good with that gun, and one of the reasons it took so long to shoot that gun is I think I shot 10 targets. I ended up putting a addition onto the front sight so I could actually hit what I was aiming at, and it worked out pretty well. So anyway, what we're going to do is load this gun up with the same charge we've been using in our other Uberti and our actual second generation Colt Walker, and that was around 37 grains of the black MZ substitute powder, and I'm using a 451 Lee cast round ball, and I'm using my own lube on the chambers. Remington caps worked out well on the Uberti. I'm guessing that they'll fit fine on this one too. So we're going to load this gun up and see how this shoots and compare with the other ones. It's going to involve more than I want to do. I get this thing loaded up, and then we'll figure out what's going on with that. These 451s push down pretty nice. I like the way they do. I'm actually shaving off just a tad, very thin ring there, which may not be enough for a lot of folks if you're not using a wad or lube on these guns. You want to get protected from the potential flash over and a chain fire there. And if you're using a smaller round ball, marginal ring of lead that's getting cut off of here, you might, like I say, want to make sure you're using a wad or else lube on the end of the chambers, or you want to switch to like a 454. I think a 457 would be a little large, be hard to load after these chambers get fouled up. But okay, let's get the lube in there next. So I rigged up this mini grease gun that works out really slick with putting lube in there, I think. So you run out of lube, of course, then you got to reload this thing, which isn't that bad. The right consistency lube as far as looseness goes is necessary to run through this kind of a gun. And if you get it really stiff stuff and all you do is shove some over the edge here, that's going to just get knocked out when the fires. And I don't think it'll do the job that our lube is trying to do to keep the fouling soft. So okay, next we'll do is cap this gun up and see how it shoots. Alright, loaded up our gun here, and we set up targets down there. I've got an aiming dot that's about 2 or 3 inches below the edge of the paper that contains our normal aiming spot, because these things should shoot high, or at least that's the thing I found with the first two. Pretty much all of these do. Let's see where this one shoots. Looks to me like somebody has taken down the rear sight just a tad on this gun, so this one might not shoot quite as high. We'll see. Okay, our trigger pull isn't real fine with this gun. Well, we can work with it. We'll have to. Yeah, it's a little heavy, probably running around 4 pounds. So here's our first target that we just finished up shooting with our Colt Walker here. Oh, the date code on this thing was a BL, and that turns out to be 1998, if anybody's wondering. And now these things really have great, I think the ones I've shot have great potential for accuracy. And we might think, well, what's the problem with this? The problem with this is that I was shooting at this dot down here, which is, let's measure that once, 7 inches above the point of aim here. So, question comes down to, okay, what do? Put it back in the box, use Kentucky windage, and always aim 7 inches low. At 21 yards would be even worse yet. I'm thinking 21 yards, probably 8 to 9 inches. So is that what we do? Is we do that, or do we do what we did on our Walker that's a couple of years old, and that was to make an addition on the front sight, a little less than half the, a little less than twice the height of the original one. I had to add about half again on there. So this is what we're looking at on this sight. Now I know some folks will work on the rear sight. I think this one has been. Let me check with my other Walker. No, those are the same as far as where they're cut off. So there's been no modifications done to this gun here, you know, in an ad so far. Folks shoot like this, and I guess that's okay. It makes noise, but you try to hit some pop cans down there at 20-25 yards, and it's not going to work out real well. And one thing I really like about this gun is he's not shooting left or right. This one here was shooting about 2 inches to the right, along with 8 to 10 inches high. So we had to really get our sight worked up, and we did the job on it, but I had to notch out the hammer a little on the left-hand side, which I didn't care for. It doesn't look bad or anything, but you cannot bring these hammers down that much. I mean, we got to go close to the full height of that front sight to get it to shoot where we want. And if we did that on that hammer, you're going to be cutting off close to 1/8 of an inch, and I just don't see that as an option. I probably made more than one mistake when I added this sight on. I mean, it doesn't look that bad, but it was so damn dark I thought it was brass. Turns out to be that they're using either silver or nickel of some sort sight on that thing. So if I do a job on this, and I'm going to go to a nickel, and actually nickel itself is going to be just about the right, you know, the right width for that thing. So I think that's where we're at. We're going to bump this sight up a little bit. We're going to solder on a addition onto this thing, and we'll probably videotape what we're doing there, and if somebody's interested in that, we can include that on the end of the video. But once I get that sight raised up again, then we're going to get this thing zeroed so it actually shoots where we're aiming it. Now, second string is ready to go, and we added some front sight on there, and hopefully we kept her pretty much straight, I guess, as far as the barrel goes. After just soldering that sight on and not doing anything else to it, I think I got things about where I want it. I was right about shooting a little low. I expected it more like down in here somewhere. And I am shooting this a tad to the right. We can take care of that pretty easily. And move that front sight to the right then. Maybe take a little bit of it off, the front sight. We'll see what string number 3 does. We took this gun down to the vise and narrowed up the front sight a little bit. It's pretty narrow right now the way it is, so I don't want to take it down much more. So I took a little off the left side here. Yeah, I blackened that up a bit. Basically, profile, that looks pretty decent. I think I'm just going to leave that the way it is. I might clean up a little solder on this side, but I'm not going to get down into the original sight with the files. That way, if somebody wants to someday pull this front sight off, I'm not sure why they would, but if they do, then they can go back to the original sight. So considering I only got about an hour and a half, and you know, soldering that on, counting videotaping, that's not too bad. Anyway, we're going to shoot one more group with this, and you can never tell always with one group. I got 6 shots, on the target here, 5 of them in this area and 1 up here, but so that's pretty decent. If I'm thinking about that, one reason for it is these guns have got a lot of accuracy built into them, but another thing we got here, and I'll cock this back, I measured the sight, what we call the sight radius, from the front sight back to the rear sight, and that's a full 13 inches on these Walkers. With my 336 Marlin open sights, I think it's 14 inches. So we've got a long sight radius, and that gives us the chance when we're shooting off a bench or a rest to really zero in on stuff. We'll take a look at our last 2 targets here. Of course, I like the group on this one. I think, like I say, I had about an inch here on 5 shots, about out to 1.5 inches. Took the gun down and took a couple swipes off the top of the sight and removed a little bit from the left-hand side of the front sight. And what I'm liking about this is it's centered right where I want it here. A little bit with taking a little bit off the sight. You don't want to take too much off that, and I was smart not to do that because I would have been up here. That's if I wanted to hit point of aim, which kind of what I'm working towards here. So that's the result of our 3rd target, and I think I'm going to leave things alone. Speeds over here will be an interesting thing to check. I mean, we've got a lot of speeds we've been doing the last week here on these actually 2 days on these Walkers, but notice in here I'm getting 9, and then 1034, I think 39 is the highest here. When before that I had a 900, 4 900s, a couple in the thousands. But if I compare that to the Uberti that's got the fast twist, like in the last group here, I'm not seeing one in the 900s, in the 1068. I do see a couple of 900s here, but here's another string, everything in 1,000 feet per second, up to 79. 9 here. Seems as though I'm getting a little faster speeds out of that faster twist gun than I am out of this one. Anyway, we're probably going to set some tin cans up now that we're pretty much zeroed, and we're going to see if our Walker here can take out a few cans down there 21 yards. Okay, we got 4 cans set up down there. We got 4 out of 6. No complaints on that.